get right into this and talk about Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is one of the many heroes here in Star Wars Battlefront, and effectively to use him in the field, you have to use him as both an offensive and defensive, because that's what you have a lightsaber for. Luke has three prime abilities: Force Push, Force Flurry, and Force Lunge. You can easily get up on enemies because you can block their saber fire or their blaster bolts fire back at them. Luke is very fast and he is very durable. Luke can take a certain amount of hits, well, not a certain amount, he can take plenty of hits in the field, and he's good for when enemies are boxed in corners or boxed into rooms, because then you just go in there and you can go AWOL on people. The problem is he doesn't have a self-gen ability to give himself health like some of the other heroes in this list could have. But where is Luke most effective at, in what kind of scenarios? Well, he's good in the mode Heroes vs. Villains, because you can effectively use his abilities in that mode just as much as you can use him in Supremacy, Turning Point, and the Sabotage game modes, and Evac. What maps are you wondering where he could be useful at? Well, obviously large-scale battles, because once you have enough players backing you up while you're using a hero, players will try to protect you as much as you can protect yourself. Therefore, you will have an advantage in the field over your enemies. The only issues with Luke is if you get ganged up on, you can be taken down, and if you have less than quarter health or even half, going up against another hero, either A with a lightsaber or somebody can hit you from long distance, can be a problem. But out of all the heroes, Luke is one of the very best heroes in the game. He's fast, he's fluent, he has the speed, the strength, and he has the ability to defend himself. So this section is to show you and to have explained to you how Luke Skywalker is one of the best characters. Let's talk about everybody's favorite smuggler turned general, rebel general, Han Solo. Now, how is Han Solo? Yes, Han Solo is a soldier blaster type of character. He has his traditional DL-44 pistol, but you can also use this as a standard soldier, but using it in the hands of Han Solo, especially as a hero, it has a different kick to it than it does using it just regularly. What I mean is, Han Solo, he's not very fast. He's moderate speed like any other soldier. He can take moderate hits like any other soldier in the game. He's still hard to take down if he can get a blaster on you, because it's almost instant death once he shoots you. He has a rapid fire ability, a shoulder charge, and a lock-on attack that if you hold R1, he locks up and blasts it. I think it's called Trooper Bane is for Princess Leia, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Oh no, it's called Lucky Shot, I believe. Yeah, Lucky Shot. But the best at Han Solo is good at distance. Han Solo is also good for his effective game modes, but I do feel the most strategic and strength game mode for him is Supremacy and Turning Point, any of these big open map advantages, because you can blast down enemies in quick succession with his rapid fire ability, and enemies would have a hard time to try and get a lock on you, because you can run equally as fast, you can get behind cover, and you can lock down. But the thing is, with the heroes, they are always locked to third person. You cannot enter first person mode with Han Solo unless you aim down the sight. That's the only time you can lock down. He is a very effective character, almost overpowered if you know how to use him. And in the game mode Supremacy and in Turning Point, he is very well. He is even, there's a broken thing with him that I'm not going to tell you, but just know that it happens in Walker Assault. In Walker Assault, there's a thing you can do with Han Solo that is very broken, and that it can easily earn you a victory with the rebels. Can't spoil it because I don't want it to get patched, but if you figure out what it is, good job and good for you. Let's talk about Princess Leia Organa, one of the supporting characters. She's more of a support character. She's half and half of a soldier and a support character. But what people mainly use in her, she has an assault blaster rifle, the E11, that's more boosted up because she's a hero character. But what Leia is for, Leia is mainly for support. And what I mean by support is she has an ability called Trooper Bane that can stun and kill Imperial characters or any enemy characters. She can also throw down a drop shield to protect you from rocket fire, orbital strikes, Imperial Walker blasts. It pretty much projects you from anything. The only thing is you cannot shoot through the shield, but enemies can shoot in. So there's a trade-off to that, because I know people would try to break a shield ability, throw it down, and shoot through it. And what Leia also does is she can throw down health power-ups. Her health power-ups allow her to not only heal you, but to heal other characters and to heal herself. Now, she's decent in the big game modes, but where she is effective the most for you all would be heroes versus villains, because you need a support character. Because if the enemy gets the upper hand, or if you guys find a way to work together as a unit, you can use her as a healer, because chances are the enemy team themselves will also have a healing character. A healing character can prove great, become great in the field. Now, when you run up on somebody, she can melee somebody, but it's a standard melee. Leia is not like the most greatest character, but if you had to use her, if she was the only other option, because characters can quickly choose who they want to play as, so you might get lucked out, choose her, use her, be a benefit to your team. She can be a great benefit to anybody's team. If you're playing on the Rebels and if you're good with her, the team that you are on, whether it be any game mode, especially heroes versus villains, Princess Leia is a good choice for you. Now let's talk about one of the most effective characters and favorite in Star Wars Battlefront. This is Nien Nunb or Nien Nunb, whichever way you want to call him, that's on you. Nien Nunb was never a playable character in none of the old games, and he was only seen in Episode 6 and slightly in Episode 7. But now that we get a chance to play as him, what can Nien Nunb do? What makes him different? What makes him unique? Nien Nunb is a soldier. He is a thoroughbred soldier. He is not a super chucked up, like you can use Luke Skywalker as an assault soldier as well with a lightsaber, but you still have to play defensive. Nien Nunb is straight built for attack. He is built to go into the field, especially with his arsenal of weapons. He has a better blaster than Han Solo, because not only is it as powerful as Han Solo's, it is automatic. It's not single fire. It's rapid. He can use a sniper rifle to blast enemies from afar. He can drop proximity bombs, a total up to 3 proximity bombs. And he can use an infantry turret, because most enemies in, most characters in the game would have to pick up a power token to get an infantry turret, but Nien Nunb can call one out every 30 seconds, or if his gets destroyed. Now, he is effective all the way aboard. Every game mode that you can use him in, use him to its fullest extent. Not a Nien Nunb, if you have a group of players with you, you really don't need protection, but you somewhat do, because same with Luke. If you get ganged up on, he can be taken out. That's the problem. He also can take a little bit more punishment than Leia and Han Solo. He can take almost equal punishment as Luke, but not that much. You still have to play smart. Play as if you were being a regular trooper. Just know that you have a great enhancement, a greater chance to come back. Nien Nunb is an excellent character. If you learn to use him, then good job. Now let's talk about how Mr. Lando Calrissian can give you advantages in the battlefield. Now, Lando Calrissian, we all know Lando Calrissian. We all love him. But this is one of the first times as well we can also play as him in a video game. Lando Calrissian has a unique blaster pistol of his own, just like Han Solo's is unique to him, except when you aim down the sights, you go into, it's not infrared because everything is blue and yellow, but the only thing I can call it is infrared. He has a power blast ability similar to Han Solo's lucky shot, but blaster, his blaster bolt type ability, it's a little bit more powerful because it could take out, if enemies are grouped up together, the blast radius can really take people apart. Now, as you do more, kill more enemies, your gambling logos will go up, which means you can do more damage, take damage, and the chances of your weapons, like I said, you could do damage, take damage. You can also dish out more damage. And dishing out more damage, it's good. And you can also hold the blaster bolt to reach to level 5 degree. Now, the triangle ability, it's still a tricky one that I do not understand. I don't know if it's a random thing. It says it stuns enemies, but I've never seen a shocking trap. Never seen it do its advantage before. Now, R1 disables enemy equipment. If you get near enemy equipment such as proximity bombs, turrets, shields, you press R1, it shuts them down. It's kind of like an EMP. That's the closest thing I could think of. It's like an EMP grenade, but like Han Solo and Leia, he is a moderate character. can dish out a lot of damage, but can only take moderate damage. So you need to play smart with him, and if you play smart with him, you can give your team a heavy advantage. He's only good in a select few modes, but the modes he is well-rounded for, you know what? He's good for those modes, and if you're good with him, great, amazing. Now let's talk about the powerhouse that is Darth Vader. Just like Luke Skywalker, Vader is a lightsaber wielder. But the thing about Vader is, he is built to be a powerhouse. He moves like a tank, he strikes like a tank, he has his abilities that serve his purpose. And what might that be? He has Force Choke, Force Flurry, which is his lightsaber flurry, kind of like Luke's. And the thing he does do, that Luke doesn't do, is Saber Throw. Saber Throw can be very effective if a group of enemies are running towards you. They cannot stop it. The Saber Throw will instantly cause death and instantly take down the enemy. Force Choke can only work on one person at a time. But the kicker is, if you do Force Lightsaber Throw, you can Force Choke at the same time to get an opponent that's probably being very much of a pain in the ass to you. Now, here's something most people already know. For those of you who do not know, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader can enter a blade lock mode, a clash, which is very symbolic, like in the movies. If you press both your triangle abilities together and run toward each other, you enter blade lock mode. Blade lock mode means you tap R2 repeatedly to see who becomes the upper hand. I really enjoyed that. It feels very thematic, especially in all game modes. If you play Conquest mode, if you're playing it with your friend and your friend happens to be on the other team and you both have lightsaber characters, be sure to run toward each other at full speed. Once you do that, you enter the blade lock mode. When that happens, it will give you such a rush. And Vader is just a powerhouse through and through. He's good in all game modes. He's good in the field. But remember, the thing is, he is slow. Do not try to get yourself into a situation you cannot get out of. But if enemies are cornered and enemies have no way out, it's a Vader slaughterfest. Just tap triangle, his Force Flurry will do the rest, Force Throw will deal any ranged enemies, and Force Choke will deal with the last person who stands. Now let's talk about Emperor Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine, he is a through and through support character. He is not as powerful as every other hero. Now don't get me wrong, in one-on-one, in maybe 2 or 2 or 3 against 3, he's very effective, but against an entire squadron of players, he cannot hold up. He is not as powerful. When he blocks, he can only block using Force Lightning, but he doesn't deflect. The only time he is good is when enemies are grouped up together and he activates Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning will rip through each of the enemies and will each blast them down and will defeat them all. And he's actually pretty quick, especially he's the Emperor, old age. He drops power-ups just like Princess Leia, but he also has a dash ability like Luke Skywalker, but his dash ability does not attack or harm anyone. It's just for quick escape. Now, how to effectively use the Emperor? You have to be tactical. You actually need somebody with you, a team flagging you. Now, the thing that's good about the Emperor is 2 players can spawn on you as royal guards. They will protect you, and they're kind of like a more buffed up soldier. So they can easily protect you, but if they're gone, you are going to have a problem. The only time he is good is Heroes versus Villains, because 1, he is a support character. He can drop power-ups for yourself and for the heroes. And if someone like, say, Darth Vader's having a hard time fighting someone, you could throw power-ups, or the enemy will not see you coming. You can activate your Force Lightning behind them and do damage. He is good if you have another person with you. This is the only time to use the Emperor. The Emperor, unfortunately, he had a potential to be something good. The thing he is missing is obviously his lightsaber. If he had his lightsaber, he could stand toe-to-toe with everybody, but he is the least good of the characters. Now let's talk about the Swiss Army knife, the one-man army, Boba Fett. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, no matter what people tell you or not many times they patch this game, Boba Fett is still a broken-ass character. Boba Fett is literally a one-man army. He can fly, jetpack, he has a flamethrower if he gets cornered, and he has his propeller rockets. So the advantages with Boba Fett is if you're playing Walker Assault, what's it called? Supremacy, Turning Point, any of those large game modes, Boba Fett can get up to high places and scope you out with his 3-burst E11 rifle. This proves most difficult if you're a rebellion soldier, because Boba Fett can get on top of a mountain that you cannot get on top of. Hell, he can get on top of the walker and just blast you down if you're trying to blast the walker itself. Now, Boba Fett can be taken down. One of the few heroes, and I know it sounds very, obvious or movie-like, but they set up the Han Solo hero in this game. Han Solo and Lando or Leia are one of the ones that can actually take him down, because A, lucky shot, 2, Lando's fucking torpedo shot and Leia's trooper bane can bring him down to the ground, because once his jetpack runs out before it can recharge, you can get an advantage at him. But the problem is, people who use Boba Fett, they use him as more like a defensive character when he can be used for so much more. Hence why he is a one-man army. That's why he's designed, but a lot of people misuse Boba. That's what I feel. They misuse Boba, but if used effectively, Boba can take on any of the heroes. He can take on them one-on-one, and if you have people flagging you, you can definitely take them out. That's why Boba is one of the greatest heroes in this game. Boba is a one-man walking army. Now it's Greedo's turn. Greedo, obviously we all know who Greedo is. The famous argument, who shot first, Han or Greedo? Now this is the first time I ever got a chance to play as Greedo in a video game. I don't know if he was in any other Star Wars video games. But Greedo, this is going to sound strange, but he's good for sabotage. Greedo is a sabotage-based character. He has his dinky little pistol, obviously, but he has a meter that builds up, just like Lando Calrissian. The meter can increase grenade. First level grenade is a standard thermal grenade. Then the second one is an impact grenade. Once you max that out, you get the thermal imploder, which, thermal imploder, if anybody knows that from the token power-ups, it's a grenade that sucks in and then explodes. And then once that happens, if you play in small game modes like in Jabba's Palace, Greedo will screw you. He will screw you. He is really good up close. Another ability is he can see you through walls. He has thermal senses. Once you do that, nobody can really sneak up on you if you're playing in close quarters missions, like Jabba's Palace for one. Jabba's Palace is effective for Greedo, because obviously not only is that smuggler territory, but Jabba has very narrow and thin halls. Another thing he has is precision shot. Once you activate precision shot, headshots are instant death. Very much instant death. Sometimes you could survive a headshot from regular characters, but it just takes already his powerful aiming and his powerful blaster and just makes it already amped up. So Greedo is good for the sabotage game mode, especially aka for the game mode sabotage. He's also good in what's the game mode? Evacuation, evac. He's good for that mode right there. But the tricky part is trying to use him in open scale battles. Oh yeah, his Deoxys grenade is a poison grenade. You can use his poison against groups of enemies. But like I said, he's not effective in large battles, but if you play with him like in Jabba's Palace, that's where he is. Lastly, we're going to talk about a fan favorite, Dengar, aka I call him Dengar the Tank. What can Dengar do? Dengar is even more powerful, OP, than Boba. I'm sorry. This guy was never seen in the other games. He was only seen in Episode 5 of the movie Empire Strikes Back, in the one scene with all the bounty hunters. But what can Dengar do? Dengar has a big-ass DLT-19. It's OP than already the OP one in the game. That's what's powerful about Dengar. Dengar can aim down, but he cannot aim down the sights all the way like in first person. He can only aim down third person. But his abilities are, he can swing his massive cannon gun at you like a melee weapon. He uses that almost like, what is it? I can't say a lightsaber, but you know. Oh, it's like Han Solo's shoulder bash. That's how it's like, Han Solo's shoulder bash ability. Except it's way more effective and way more lethal. And if you hold triangle, he can activate his DLT-19 into a massive cannon. He could just start blasting away without even aiming down the sights. And it causes, it's called Frenzied Blast. The last ability he has is multi-grenade toss. He could toss up to 3 grenades down at the same time to hit all of his enemies. Anybody you hit and caught in this grenade fire can be stuck with the grenades, or they can run into an explosion of blasting fire. Lastly, the lastly thing is he has his own set of armor. The more kills you get, the more your armor will increase to damn near indestructibility. But you can still be killed. Don't get me wrong, you can still be killed. But Dengar is a tank through and through. And if you use him, just know he is good in Turning Point, Walker Assault, and Supremacy. Heroes versus villains, if the heroes can get up on you, you have a problem. But against regular soldiers, you are the man. So that's how Dengar's used.